What's up guys, this is Fang/VA here coming at you with a new video, and in today's video we're going to do something very much, well, it's going to be a similar video I made to last year, which is where I'm basically going to speculate on what Sega might do for the Sonic franchise in 2024. And yeah, with that said, if you're new here, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and definitely hit that bell button. And let's get started. So naturally, I was basically wrong about everything, I think, in that last one. Because I swore up and down that they probably wasn't going to put out a new game, and they totally shocked me when they announced Sonic Superstars, but then they also announced the Sonic game that just came out on Apple Arcade. Jeez, why was that so hard to say? And so I was wrong about that. I said that we were going to get the Knuckles show this year. I was wrong about that. Now here's the thing. There's a bit of a caveat to this, is that, well, we weren't expecting there to be strikes, both the writer's strike and the Actors Guild strike. So, you know, it's not like I can see in, that far in the future. I can't. I might have predicted there being a possible Sonic Origins Plus in that video. I can't remember. I'm sure that my editor will put something and that will confirm if I did or not. So anyways, let's get started by the things that we do know. We do know that that the Knuckles show is looking like it will be coming out early 2024. Hopefully, let me just fact check that real quick, so that this way I'm not spreading misinformation. There currently isn't a. Oh yeah. Right now it is pretty much set to be in early next year. Now, early next year can range from anywhere between January to maybe March. It depends on what. So pretty much it should be out in the first quarter of 2024. So that's one thing that we do know. The second thing that we do know is that Sonic Movie 3 is coming out December of next year. So quite literally in a year. Which, with a certain editor possibly already up here way before that time, we'll probably end up seeing that movie together. And hopefully they got Jim Carrey back as Dr. Robotnik. Because honestly, like I said, is that you can't have Sonic without Dr. Eggman, much like how you can't have Mario without Bowser. I've said this countless times before. So, some of the things that we do know is that there's probably going to be more IDW comics coming out. I do know that there's going to be a fourth IDW compilation of like all the different issues and all that, which I still need to get the third one, because I have the first two, and that's how I chose to read the IDW comics. It's just wait for those. Even though that, I might be waiting for a year to be able to read, some issues and all that, it's fine. I don't mind waiting for those big, compilations of various comics. And obviously, we'll probably get updates for Sonic Dream Team. I think they actually confirmed there's going to be updates for that. And obviously, Sonic Dash, Sonic vs. Speed Battle. So those are the things that we do know. And of course, Sonic Speed Similar. And probably some new Lego sets. and probably some new jazz. Okay, now we're just getting into the merch stuff. And the games that unless you're a bit of a fanatic when it comes to Sonic like me, you're not going to care too much about a Roblox game or mobile games. Although I can see Sonic Dream Team being the one Sonic mobile game that people will probably care about, because it's a full-fledged Sonic game. It's not a it's not a endless runner or a endless runner mixed with a PvP type game. So yeah, now we get into the possible stuff that could happen. Now let's start with something that's been on my mind. Possible Sonic Superstars DLC, or maybe some sort of expansion, kind of like Sonic Mania Plus, Sonic Origins Plus. Could we see a Sonic Superstars Plus? It's possible. It wouldn't shock me if they do so, but it wouldn't shock me if they didn't either. It really comes down to what they want to do and what they want to add. They could throw in some sort of encore mode, and I think what would be really cool is if they make it to where we can actually set it to where, like, we want to play the game more old school with lives and continues and all that, because like I've said in many videos, I think with a lot of these more old school style platformers having unlimited lives, I do think that it's not allowing people to learn from their mistakes. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm against any sort of modern compilation of retro games removing the lives and continues and all that. I'm very much against the whole, to a certain extent, the whole, like, games should be accessible to everyone. I think in my opinion, that should only apply to games that are designed to be like, not retro games or retro style games. That's what makes, now naturally too, like, some people may throw, and I know I'm going off a tangent. My apologies. That's what happens when you don't have anything in front of you to read off of. Some people may throw that back at me, go, well, what about Dark Souls or Elden Ring? Well, those games aren't designed to have lives or continues. So why bring them up? In my opinion, that's, that whole argument kind of falls flat. Because I could see someone using that argument against me easily. Because the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of gamers nowadays that just don't want to deal with difficulty. And I don't get it. But that's the thing. I'm not gonna get it because I like what I like and I like what they like. Well, and they like what they like. You guys get what I mean. Anyways, maybe like we could see some sort of a reverse story mode to where, like, you're playing as Fane. I think the character name is Trip, and then also Dr. Eggman. I'm always advocating for games to have it to where, like, once you play as the heroes, you can play as the villains and get their side of the story. Because there's not a lot of games that do that. And I, for one, would love to actually play as Fang, the sniper, aka Knack, the Weasel. And that would be so freaking cool. And maybe too, like, why not stop it there? Why not include Metal Sonic? That'd be cool. maybe like they could maybe add some sort of new game plus mode to where you have all your chaos abilities from the chaos emeralds already unlocked, and maybe you have it to where you have all some chaos emeralds still, and maybe this mode can basically be, I guess you can say, a bit of an encore mode, but without the fact that you have to recollect the chaos emerald. Because that was something that was cool about Sonic Mania, was that you could actually, well, Sonic Mania Plus was that Encore mode takes place directly after events of Sonic Forces. So it would be kind of cool to like maybe see, something that could impact the classic world, maybe because of what happens in Frontiers. Now, I do know that they kind of retconned the whole classic Sonic comes from a different dimension sort of thing, from what it seems like. And they're still going with the fact that classic Sonic is still a past version of modern Sonic, which is how it should. It's less convoluted like that, because I literally have my own versions of how both timelines would go. And let me tell you, it is convoluted as heck when I'm trying to explain. So when it comes to new, unless they surprise us, and I don't think they will, because I do believe right now Sega is most likely working on the next big Sonic game, or at least in the planning stages for it. I do think, because of the fact that they have mentioned the fact that they want to keep bringing legacy Sonic games to modern consoles, I do think we could possibly see some sort of remaster or a second compilation. Now, what could that remaster be? Well, why not give the fans what they want? Why not basically not just put out one game, two? So one game could be the Sonic Unleashed Ultimate, where they would most likely remove the lives and continues. Yeah, as you all can see, I prefer my ports being exactly how they were when they first came out, just with better controls. And maybe some quality of life improvement. In my opinion, removing the lives, that's not a quality of life improvement. That's called holding my frickin' hand, and I don't like it. So they could do something like that, and then they could give us some sort of Sonic, Sonic 3D Origin. Again, I've been saying this multiple, I've been talking about this possible compilation that they could do for a couple years now, and it's totally, I'm totally basing this off of there. You have Super Mario All Stars, which is a compilation of like remade versions of the NES Mario games, unless you have the version that also comes with a more updated version of Mario World, where like Luigi has his own sprite. He's no longer Green Mario, and some other changes. Like I said, I need to research that version of Mario World a bit better, because my preferred version of Mario World original release, because that's the one I played. Although, to be honest, I can play any version of Mario World because it's the same game. There's just certain things that they tweaked, every time they ported it or like do a new version of it. And then you have Super Mario 3D All Stars, where it's the 3D games minus Galaxy 2. So for this, they can do something similar to where it is Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Heroes. In my opinion, that could be a good way to finally give us Sonic Heroes on modern platform. Because right now, the only way you Sonic is you have to play it on the consoles that it came out for. So the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, and the OG Xbox. You can also emulate it, which is probably the more easiest way of doing things. Or for 3, you get the PC version, which, because of how more high tech modern gaming computers and laptops are, there's a good chance you might have to do some tinkering around with it to get it to work. So there's some possible ports and remasters. If they want to keep up with the whole, if they want to throw in a curveball, why not a Sonic Advance / Sonic Rush compilation? There's so many different compilations that I think that if it's done well, if it's not like a Sonic Colors Ultimate sort of situation, I feel like fans would probably enjoy it. Because that's the thing about Sonic fans, is that the reason why I tend to not, I guess, interact with which, this is weird, right? Because I'm a Sonic tuber and I interact with Sonic fans. If there's one thing I dislike about the Sonic fan base, the fact that they're constantly changing their opinion. And I feel like when one section of the fan base is happy with a game they got, you have some of the other. When at the end of the day, like I always said, is that we're all here for the same thing, which is a blue hedgehog. So I don't see why classic Sonic fans can't give newer Sonic games a chance. Why I think that people that are still waiting for Sonic 3, to where their possible last Sonic game, or maybe one of the Sonic Advance games, 3, 4 kids, dub change sort of thing. They're still holding out hope for Frontiers is a great game. Sonic Superstars, from what I played of it so far on my Switch, because I still don't have my pre-order from Stop. Bad luck. Still dealing with issues with trying to get ordered. But Sonic Superstars game. So Sonic fans are eating pretty in terms of having some good quality gaming content. But I digress. Or B, they might throw another curve. You know what? Here's Sonic Superstars 2. Or maybe Sonic Mania 2. Because let me tell you, when I said last year that unless it's a spin-off, although technically I guess Sonic Dream Team technically counts as a spin-off, technically half right, but I really did looking back on that, I really do look like a fool. That did not age well at all. But that's what makes that's what fun, is that you don't know what's, and when they surprise you with like what Sega did with Sonic Superstars. I heard leaks that there was going to be some sort of new 2D 2D game, but people kind of took it as, oh well, a game that's similar to Sonic Advance. You know, that's what people were thinking because, you know, as Sonic fans, when we think when we hear modern in a name of a game, that's it could be modern Sonic. You know, it's a stupid mistake that we make, but there's a reason for it. But now, do I believe that next year could be like an actual game? It's possible. Which one do I think that could, which one do I think that could be the one that they could do? Well, I mean, I think if they revive Sonic, why not give us a new Riders game? This time, don't do any sort of gimmick sort of thing like they did with Free Riders, please. And speaking of Free Riders, I feel like that game, I think they released that game on modern with without the Kinect compatibility attached to it, because I'm sure that there's a good Sonic Riders game. Thing is that Kinect just sucks. Which this also ties in with a why not just give us a Rider support? I mean, why not? You know, I don't see the issue with it. Especially since they want the legacy games to platforms. Well, there's some games that people are still wanting more of and wanting to come back. You know, they could bring Sonic and the Secret Rings to the Switch, along with Sonic and and you know what they do. So I mean, they can even the PS5 and Xbox Series. You know. Some other things that they could do. Now, obviously, one other thing that we know is Prime episodes. And now, when it comes to things that want to happen, I personally now this ties into a game that I would want to see. I would want to play a game that takes place before Sonic Heroes, where you see rise to basically power. That would be a cool game to see. Some other things I think that is plausible merch-wise. I wouldn't mind if they started bringing out more Sonic vinyl soundtracks. Or heck, just do a freaking box. The only thing is that, if they ever do decide to release the classic game sound, I'm not sure if I would want to guess, because it would be replaced track. I'm sorry, I'm a purist, but obviously, so yeah, that's it. For I think could be coming for. I'm sure that we'll get more releases of like different series on like Blu-ray and all discotheque, which I'm hoping that we get. And honestly, too, I think it would be cool to see, like, IDW reprint the Archie comics. It's just the problem is that, you know, they would have to pay penders, but yeah, I don't want to open up that can. So yeah, you know, we could also see a announcement show, maybe Sonic movie 4. You know, who knows what they're gonna do next. And that's the point of this video at the end of the day, is that this is a video that is meant to just have fun and geek out. Could become. Let me know what you all think. Let me know if you agree, disagree, if you offer your own predictions. Cheer. If we do so, be just do so with respect. Don't be mean about it. So yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.